What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today I wanted to talk about a Secret Lair that is available for sale right now that is going to be released actually next month in November of 2022, and that is called Secret Lair X Post Malone Backstage Pass. And if you're not familiar with Post Malone, he is a recording artist who is also an outspoken Magic the Gathering player. If you're not familiar, he actually has even shown up on Howard Stern talking about spending $800,000 on a signed artist-proof copy of Black Lotus. So yes, that is nearly $1 million on one strip of cardboard, but it is also an antique of Magic's past that is worthy of some collector clout, if you will. In any event, Post Malone, millionaire recording artist, it is what it is. In any event, the Secret Lair is actually designed to celebrate Post Malone because the truth of the matter is, the fact that he has been making appearances on Magic the Gathering content, the fact that he's been speaking out in non-Magic the Gathering channels, such as Howard Stern, about Magic, has gotten a ton of eyeballs on the game and is just a massive flex for Wizards of the Coast, frankly. It just gets a ton of people involved that wouldn't be otherwise. So as a way of saying thank you to Post Malone, they have put his name and face on Magic cards. Now, all of the cards that appear in this Secret Lair, there are 4 in total, all of them are reskins. So these are cards that already exist in non-Post Malone variants, but if you would like to get, you know, celebrate your appreciation for Posty, you can do so, but for $29.99 for the non-foil version or $39.99 US dollars for the foil variant. And the cards that are included are Post, Son of Rich, which is Keurig, son of Yawgmoth, which is a legendary black creature. Now you will note, all of the cards in this set can appear in a mono black commander deck. Post Malone is an outspoken commander player, has made multiple appearances on game nights. Commander appears to be a format that Post Malone enjoys very much. So it makes sense that his Secret Lair has a copy of him that could be the commander, and the 3 other cards would all fit within that deck. Kind of cool. It makes sense. It's all on theme, and Posty can now generate a deck that is based on himself, which I gotta be honest, if I was in his position, I would so do that. I would absolutely roll up to a commander event with this. Also, if I were to ever get like an invitational card, like a world championship card, way never gonna happen, by the way, but like in a world where that happens, I would totally make sure it's a legendary creature so I could have myself as my commander. Just throw that out there. Anybody doing that, get on it. Like, it's just good for you. That's awesome. In any event, Post, Son of Rich. It's Keurig, son of Yawgmoth. It's a 2/2 for 4 Phyrexian black mana 3 times. So it could be 4 and 6 life, or it could be 7 mana, 3 of which are black. And you get a 2/2 lifelinker. For each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay its mana cost. So all black mana symbols become Phyrexian mana symbols. And then whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Post, Son of Rich. Rich, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, is not just his status as a person, but also that is actually his father's name. So that's why that's the name here. In any event, we also have Bolas's Citadel, which is Post's Citadel. Why they made it a Citadel, despite the fact that it clearly shows a concert, is kind of funny. Are we to believe that he is actually like on top of like the Bolas's Citadel on Ravnica, and he happens to have an adoring crowd around him? Because I mean, he's clearly channeling some kind of dark energy behind him. It's interesting. I don't really know what to make of that. Why that's not like sold out show? Or, like, I don't know. I feel like there could have been a ton of different names that might have been a little more fitting than just Post Citadel. But in any event, it is a 6-drop. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to the mana value rather than its mana cost. Pretty cool stuff. And you can tap, sack 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. So cool finisher cool finisher in Commander, cool combo enabler, and with Keurig, or Post, Son of Rich, you could actually get this down for as little as 3 mana and a hit to your life total. So, okay, like that fits. Those two fit together in the same deck. Neat. And again, we have cool artwork featuring Post Malone. If you like Post Malone and you could be like talked into playing a Citadel deck, here you go. We also have Post's Sigil, which is a copy, or is a reprint rather, of Leshrac's Sigil. If you're not familiar with this one, this one's a pretty deep cut, actually. Fits well in Keurig decks, so again, makes sense. It's an enchantment for black. Whenever an opponent casts a green spell, you may pay black. If you do, look at that player's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card, and you can pay black to return Post Sigil to its owner's hand. So it protects itself from removal, except Corrosion Grip, because split second thing. But it's aside from that, you're pretty much golden. This thing, if you have 2 black mana up, you can just bounce it. If you have, Keurig down, you can bounce it for 2. For 4 life rather. Pretty darn sweet. And on top of that, if your opponent is playing green, you can pay a little bit, and you can get a free thought. Well, not 3 because you have to pay mana, but you basically get a pilfer. You can just eat their hand a little bit turn for turn. So kind of cool. It's a neat card. It's neat tech. I'm glad to see it get a reprint, even though it's kind of weird that it's Post Malone, but rock on. And it looks like the artwork is almost evocative of like Post Malone's tattoos like coming to life in some way, and I can't tell if they're torturing him or if he's like summoning them to do his bidding or something. Very weird, but also kind of neat. Like, I'm not mad at it. I gotta say, if I was a tattooed rock star and Wizards was like, hey, what kind of magical abilities do you want? It's like, yeah, my tattoo's coming to life. All right, that's pretty rad. You could do worse than that, so rock on. Get after it, Posty. This is neat. And then finally, the last card in the Post Malone Backstage Pass Secret Lair is Jet Medallion. This is an artifact for 2. If you are in a mono black commander deck, you want this card. Period, you just do. Black spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for 2. It's kind of like a mana rock, except it reduces costs across the board. Very cool. There is one of these in each color, by the way. So if you have monocolor decks, keep an eye on these. And if you have 2-color decks, actually, a lot of them are still worth it because you can get just killer value depending on the ratio of spells. But in any event, yeah, black spells being cheaper, awesome. And it shows like the medallion itself is this big ornate rock on a necklace, and if you look closely you will see tattoos on the neck of the person wearing it. So this is clearly an ornament that Post Malone himself is wearing. So flavorfully A+. It's another card that fits within this Keurig deck theoretically that we're putting together for this. And yeah, so if you want to buy this just because you're a Post Malone fan and you just want to have a card with Posty's face on it, here you go, done. You get 4 cards with various Post Malones on them, which cool. If you are not necessarily a huge fan of Post Malone, but you are planning on building a Keurig deck and these are all cards you're interested in, well, you could do a Post Malone version. Again, the regular version of this is only $30, so you could do worse. As far as crossovers go, I think it is neat that Wizards is celebrating a celebrity who is promoting their game as hard as Post Malone. I will be completely honest, cards on the table, playing with an open hand, I don't know a single note of a Post Malone song. You could play the most popular Post Malone song that has 900 million views on YouTube. I will not recognize it, or I will not be able to identify it as a Post Malone song. But I've seen his episodes of Game Nights, and I've seen him, appear at Tolarian Community College, and like heard interviews with him talking about Magic. And I think it's really cool that an S-tier mega superstar is promoting Magic. I think that's fantastic, and I am, I'm a huge fan of that. So, neat. Now, there is also another secret lair that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. So, in addition to the Post Malone Backstage Pass secret lair, which is those 4 cards we just mentioned, there's also a Secret Lair X Post Malone The Lands. And it is a secret lair of 5 basic lands that actually have handwriting and little doodles by Post Malone himself. So I put the swamp on screen. There is one of each color. This secret lair is also $29.99. So again, for Post Malone super fans who want to get their hands on some of these lands, $30 gets you one of each, which, to be honest, I love the idea of Wizards making super custom, unique, limited run basic lands. Because it is a game piece that is practically free, but at the same time, if people do want a blinged out version of them, they want it like 24 to 50 of them. If you want the fancy version for one of your decks, if you want a fancy version for your commander decks, you probably want to run at least 15 of any one given basic land. I mean, give or take, depending on what else you got going on. But if you're running, if you built a monocolor black Post Malone deck, you might want 30 of these swamps. And like, okay, and yeah, getting them all directly within this secret lair where you would also be getting 30 of all the others, that's a very expensive proposition. Math is hard, brain go hurdy. But you may not want to do that. But you could probably pick them up on the secondary market. Who knows what they're going to be worth individually. But in any event, they're fun. They are artistic landscapes done by a number of different Magic artists, I believe. With Post Malone's tattoos appearing in various places on the card art. And then the text box, as you can see, has a actually has a signature from Post Malone, as well as some doodles as though Post Malone was scribbling on this Magic card when he was supposed to be paying attention in math class in high school. And I gotta be honest, I kind of love that. Like, it's a neat little take. Like, the text box itself is completely empty aside from like a very generic, very simple background that looks very much like a Magic card, and then it's just Posty scribbles. Like this one shows what looks like almost like a centurion kind of person, like on a skateboard going towards a ramp. Like, the hell is that? But at the same time, like, yeah, it's a neat thing that Post Malone figured he'd draw on a land. So, all right. If you like the character of Post Malone, if you like what he's doing, you want to have a little piece of that flavor in your decks, cool, you can do that. And again, I think monetizing super unique copies of basic lands is great, because that's a game piece that is the closest thing you get to free when it comes to Magic the Gathering. You know, if I want a swamp for a deck, I can ask any player at my local game store, hey, you got a couple extra swamps? You can ask the store owners. They probably have hundreds of these things in their land station and be more than happy to just give them to, you know, newer players. So, cool stuff. I think, all in all, I think the Secret Lair is kind of neat. And again, it's celebrating somebody who is doing a lot for the game. Love him or hate him, whether you love or hate his music, the truth of the matter is, dude's keeping the game going in a way. Like, he's helping bring Magic to new audiences, and that's kind of cool. And I'm glad Wizards is recognizing that and giving him a little moment in the spotlight. Not that he doesn't have plenty of moments in the spotlight, to be fair. But in any event, thank you so much for checking out the video. I appreciate you, and I will catch you on the next one.